This is part 2 to the video, why is my roof ridge sagging? And I'm going to motor on through this thing. I got a lot of pictures in here. So first thing I would like to suggest is using a chain, a couple of chains. You can attach the chain to the wall with a lag screw. Here's a lag screw and a couple of washers. You might get a lag screw that has a smaller washer, just get some bigger washers. Keep stacking them up until you get through the chain. Now you can also run a bolt through the plates. You can put a 2x6 on the outside over the stucco or the siding to run like an 8-foot or something like that. Use that along with the lag screws or other hardware as a support board. The lag screws might not be enough. You might put a lag screw in there and it's not strong enough. If that's the case, then you might need to go with another method. And I would use a turnbuckle in the middle. You could use something else. I've used all threads before and just ran, or a bolt, ran the bolt through the chain links and tightened it up that way. And you could always make a plate, like I was saying, and attach other lag screws through it. Can you drill right through the top plates and put something on the top or the bottom? Yes, you can, as long as as long as you feel comfortable with it. Can you use the rafters? Yes, you can too. You can use the rafters to attach the chains to. Now you can actually pull the walls in and the roof won't move. It'll just separate from the rafters. So it might be better to use the rafters or a combination of both, the chain attached to the walls and a couple of chains attached to the rafters. How many chains you need, that will be up to you. Maybe just one in the center will be fine. You might need 3 or 4 around the center area or spread out evenly. There's a good chance that the walls won't fix the sag in the roof if you just pull them in with a chain. You're going to need to raise them as you go with some type of a jack and post system like this. So you will jack the ridge up, tighten the chains up, move the ridge, vice versa, until you start getting some action here. Here's another method you could use if you need to use the space and you can't leave the jacks here with the support brace or the support posts. You can actually just build yourself some type of a system here. And again, you can get a little creative. You don't have to use my method, but this ought to give you a good idea of what you can do to, if you do need to use the area below. Or this might just work better for you if you have a wood floor and you don't want to be putting a lot of pressure on the wood floor also. Post, supporting post, and a supporting beam. As for move the roof, we have a lot of stuff in here. A couple of support braces. We don't want this moving, but we're not going to be able to attach it to the walls, or at least it's going to need to move a little bit as we pull the walls in. So again, you might be able to use a different type of system, but something needs to prevent this thing from moving in each direction. Use these braces here to prevent it from moving this way. Use the braces like on angled braces to use it, prevent it from moving the other way. Chains again, post sitting on the concrete, the beam sitting on the post. Let's run through this. There's that. Braces. Post to the beam. The gap between the wall so that it can move. You can always use straps to attach everything together, some type of building hardware. Braces. Jacks in the post. Put the roof back on. Not a bad idea to use a strap like this, some type of a building hardware, even some plywood to prevent the post from falling. Once you start to raise the ridge with a jack and a post like this, and this gets a gap between it. This piece can actually fall down. Well, if you're underneath it, this isn't going to feel good. So make sure that you attach it. Can it be attached at the bottom? Yeah, it can. But I think your shims, you're going to be better off putting your shims at the bottom, but I'll leave that up to you. As long as this post doesn't fall down and clobber you, then you can put your shims wherever. Now, I have not mentioned, if this is a wood framed floor, then the floor might need to be supported underneath the floor. Concrete might not need to be. Well, you're not going to be able to support it. But a wood floor, you might need to, a wood frame floor with joists and sheathing, you might need to install some type of supports underneath the floor. Otherwise, you'll end up fixing the sag in your roof and have a sag in your floor. So that's not going to be good. We don't want to create another problem by solving one problem, by making a repair and fixing something. Here's something else you could experience with the chains and all the bracing, the jacking. You could actually end up pulling one wall in. One wall will move and the other won't. If that's the case, you might need to install some braces to prevent the wall from moving that's already straightened out, and then put pressure on the other wall to try and get it to come back in. The braces can be installed in some cases. You can just put a long board going all the way across, fasten it to the plates. You can always attach it to the concrete or to the wood floor, and then install the braces at around a 45-degree angle. And you might need to install the braces. You might not be able to install them this way. They might actually need to be installed to the framing plates. It all depends on how much pressure. You install something like this, and the framing plates will move, or the board here will stay in place, but this one here will pull that way, and making a problem worse. And you can always use some type of building hardware to attach the framing studs to the wall framing plates. Maybe put an A35 on, some type of a framing anchor like that. Simpson A35 might work, or some type of other angled hardware. But again, you might be able to just attach the brace to the framing plate and solve your problem. And just nail it or screw it to the bottom, and you should be good to go. Okay, you have solved your problem. Everything's looking good. The ridge is straight, or as straight as it's going to be. The walls are straight as they're going to be. And if that's the case, now would be a good time to start installing the ceiling joist or the rafter ties that were not installed in the first place that actually created the problem. 4 foot on center is the minimum distance. It can be less, but it cannot be more. 2x6, 2x4 for a 20. This would all depend on what type of a span you have. If it's a garage that's 20 foot by 20 foot, you can actually use 2x4s that are 20 footers for your garage ties. But if you have, you already have a problem, I want to go with 2x6 just to get some extra strength in there. And here I have a board supporting the ridge. This one here is sitting on top of a double 2x6. That might be the best option. And these could actually be 4 foot on center, but that would all depend upon your project. You could put one on every board if you wanted, double up the ceiling joists, 2 foot on center, whatever. But this right here is probably going to be a necessity to prevent it from sagging again. You could always use a beam, some type of a beam with a post also. I notched the 4x4 here to go around the beam or the ridge. Now this one here is going underneath the plates. This one here was sitting on top of the plates. This is just another option. You might need to go underneath your plates, and you might even need to install a larger beam in here to make everything work out okay. And again, you could space these out as needed. Do you need them 2 foot on center? Do you need something like this 4 foot on center, 6 foot on center? I will leave that up to you, because this is the end of the video. I hope I didn't, the first video I made was actually quite long, and we are at the end of it. So feel free to leave any comments or questions in the description area or comment area, and I will answer them as soon as possible. Thanks for watching.